On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Aaron Kucherawy of commonsku about the best and worst things about working from home and what he's looking forward to in 2021. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a repeat guest, as always, a rock star. He's the manager of customer success at commonsku, Aaron Kucherawy. Aaron, thanks so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. This is officially my second time on here, which is actually one more time than I've been in Mark Graham's office ever. So I've now passed that. So that's, that's great to see. Yeah, I feel good about it. Yeah.
Well, you were on before, but a lot has changed since the last time we talked here on Delivering Marketing Joy. So many of us have had to work remote. You, of course, are working remote. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. What is the best and maybe worst thing about working from home?
It's been a really big change. I used to live 15 minutes away from the office, walk in every day, to working 100% remote, as the whole commonsku team still is. Best thing, I talked about this a little while ago on a session that we were doing on like best practices of working from home. But when everything was first locked down, I have a 2.5, she'll be 3 in February, year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated the extra time that I got to spend with her at that age.
Yeah.
So just at a super fun age. So it's hard to work from home when you have kids, for sure. And during the beginning of the lockdown, that was definitely a little bit of a juggling act, but I tried to take a breath and, enjoy the fact that I got to spend that extra time with her. And I also kind of saw it as a personal challenge. I'm a pretty outgoing person and like to talk, as my coworkers probably know, and, my wife knows very well right now. I took it as a personal challenge, as something I wasn't sure if I was going to be totally comfortable with it, as probably a lot of people weren't sure, right? So
yeah.
I took that as a challenge to make sure that I was still productive, and now I've kind of figured out, sunk into whatever the new norm is.
Yeah, that's cool.
For the other side of it, what's the hardest part? Definitely the energy of like an office and going in and, seeing people every day, having my own team and like going in and, seeing the people that I work with and getting to talk to them, and kind of that like daily office banter that we go through, which we go through a lot at commonsku. Right. Whether they're Mark Graham jokes or just general office banter. I definitely miss the energy of going in and getting to see people and hang out with them and have lunch or have a beer at the end of the day, stuff like that. So we try and do that as much as we can through Slack and communicate through there. But that's definitely the hardest part, is kind of missing that energy.
Yeah, no, it's funny. About a month into this thing, I actually was saying that, check on your extrovert friends. We're not okay. We want human interaction. So I totally feel that. So,
well, and our introvert employees, maybe the Bobby Lee Hughes of the world, are actually telling us now, like, can you please stop talking to us, because you're talking to us way more than you ever talked to us before. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really true. I think you found the people who like almost were like, oh man, I've been preparing for this my whole life.
Yeah.
and then the others, like, as you can see, I'm back in the office because I was desperate to get back. So, to make it even more exciting, you moved in the middle of all of this. So, how were you able to manage moving and working from home at the same time?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I moved about an hour north of Toronto. So I moved back to my hometown. It was interesting for sure. Definitely a bit of a balance, when my daughter's running around and you're trying to put stuff in boxes and I'm trying to answer support requests or do training, and you're kind of juggling all those things at once. But you know what? I think that you figure it out a little bit. I think moving went fairly smooth. I have 2 brothers who owed me a lot of favors, so kind of utilized that as much as I could. But it was just kind of touch and go a little bit. When I first moved in to the house that we bought, it was I'm working off of boxes, and I'm doing Zoom training calls, and I've got like a stack of boxes behind me that are like half unpacked and stuff like that. But Yeah, I think all in all, with kind of how technology is now, I was able to still kind of like work from my phone or do calls from my phone. And, that just allows you to be a little bit more mobile. And, it's amazing. I don't know how long ago, probably 20 years ago, it probably took a company like 2 weeks to set up your internet, but my internet was ready at my house before I even got here. So it's, through kind of tech with phones and stuff like that, it was pretty easy to be able to stay in touch with customers and with the staff while it's moving everything.
That's cool. And it is interesting. We're seeing a trend. I'm going a little off script here, but we're seeing a trend of people moving back, or whether it's away from a city or back to their hometowns because of the changes that we went through during the pandemic. So it's kind of interesting that technology allows us to do that.
Yeah, it's been super interesting. Definitely a little bit off topic, but like just kind of like real estate in general, up here in Canada and in the Toronto area specifically, it's super interesting. You had all these people that were moving into Toronto because that's where all the jobs were and everything. And now it's, all of the surrounding cities of Toronto, real estate markets are crazy right now because everybody's able to, leave their condo that they're paying tons of money for downtown and go and buy a house or whatever within a radius of the house because they can work from wherever. So it's super interesting to see that. And I'm glad that I'm not in that market anymore.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So we've looked back a little bit. So now I want to look forward for you. So what are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting. Am I allowed to say that it's exciting? I don't know.
Yes.
Everyone's like, I feel like it's so on trend and so maybe cliche at this point. It's become cliche really quick that it's like, yeah, 2020 is over. 2021 is going to be the best year ever. But, I think there's a ton of potential. And, as I talk to distributors every day and I'm hearing more and more and more people saying, hey, like our Q4 was awesome and we killed it. And, I kind of expect that that's going to continue to roll through to 2021. There's going to be some dips and stuff like that. And, as everything is getting figured out with vaccines or whatever. And, I think a lot of these companies that maybe had to slash marketing budgets are going to realize that they need to reach out to their clients somehow the same way that distributors need to. So, I'm excited to see kind of how this industry bounces back. I'm excited for whatever the new normal will be. We're in a normal right now, but that's going to change again at some point. So, I'm excited for whatever that's going to turn into. And I'm excited for our customers to be able to capitalize on that and continue to see growth, both for our clients and at commonsku.
So I think we can go on record and say Aaron is optimistic for 2021.
I mean, it's beginning of January. What other way is there to be, right? Like, it's a year full of hope. I don't think anyone last year in January was being like, this is going to be the worst year ever. Like,
No, I'm with you, by the way. I'm with you. I think that you're exactly right. I think one of the challenges, there are going to be some challenges ahead, as you alluded to, but the difference I think is that we know, like we didn't know what was coming last January. No. So at least we are kind of walking into the year with our eyes open. And I think that can be really good. So
I think that's true. I think that's true every year, Yeah. I think if anything last year made us realize that at the beginning of the year, no one knows what's going to happen in that coming year. I don't think that's something a lot of people thought about when, January rolls around that, you're like, the year is unpredictable. Everything is unpredictable. And I think last year showed that more than anything. So, if you're going to choose glass half full, glass half empty, why not go half full?
I love it. Well, you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody the chance to ask me one question, and I don't know what it is, so I'm a little nervous. So let's bring it.
You know what? I've watched a lot of DMJs, and lots of people ask you about business advice or what you guys do about this, but I'm going to go a little bit more personal here, Kirby. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, with quarantines, if you had to choose one person in the promotional products industry that you are not related to or not on your staff that you had to spend quarantine with, who would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a great one. And if somebody in the industry that's not in my family that I would spend quarantine with.
Really tried to take the cop-out answers. So you can't say your wife, you can't say
well, I just
someone
did.
From your team. Yeah, right?
Right. I think, can I give you a couple? Is that?
I mean, if you wanted to make it a group adventure, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think one of the natural ones is Bill Petrie. He and I are good buddies. We talk on a regular basis, and obviously, he'd be great. I think your boss, Mr. Graham. I would really enjoy hanging out with Mark. And I'm gonna go Mr. Danny Rosen. I don't know. That dude seems to light me up and puts me in a good spirit. We got between the three of us, I think we'd have some fun music, have a couple cocktails. Sure. So that any one of those guys or all of them together, I'm in. How about
the next part of this is asking them if any of them want to spend quarantine with you, and we'll see what they're
check yes or no.
Yeah, we'll send them a handwritten note, yes, no, maybe, like a high school date. So
I love it. That was a fun one. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Kirby.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.